We're going to multiply. When you multiply fractions, all right, this is going to be a part of our problems in class today. We're going to need to be able to multiply fractions. That's why we're going over this again. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the top, you multiply the bottoms, and then you simplify. You should all have this written on the back. All right, so let's do the first problem. What is 1 times 5?
5.
5. What is 2 times 4?
8.
8. Can you reduce that?
No.
No. So the answer is 5/8. For the next one, we have 1/4 times 8. So, what do you think, because I know you know how to do this, what do you think we need to do? What do you think?
You put that 8 over 1.
Yeah, put 8 over 1. Then you multiply the tops. 1 times 8 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Do we reduce in math?
Yes.
Always. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. Ta-da. The last one, we got 10 times 11, which is
110.
110. 3 times 6.
18.
Do we reduce in math?
Yes.
What's 110 and 118 got in common? 2. They're both divisible by 2. So 2 goes into 110 55 times. 2 goes into 18.
9.
Ta-da. All right, so we're just going to need to make sure that we remember how to multiply. All right? Let's go back. What?
Don't you reduce it to 9?
55 over 9?
Oh, shoot.
They're not both divisible by a number. We would if we could, but we can't.
I thought you were doing mixed numbers.
Nope. Go ahead and flip to the front. All right, flip to the front. There are formulas you need to know for your test and quiz. First one is the slope formula. You got y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Goes in the slope formula blank. Goes here. It goes here. First blank, Bruce. y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Your point slope, which you have not seen quite yet, it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then the last, the slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b. All right, so we're going to use these. Here we go. Linear equations, let's review. What do we know about parallel lines? What do we know about their slopes?
They're even. Congruent.
Starts with an S. Definitely not. What does that say there, Kevin?
Well, same.
They're the same. Parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, remember how you had to write it down, highlight it yesterday? Same slope. What do we know about perpendicular slopes? They're opposite reciprocals. What does opposite refer to? The sign. So positive to negative, negative to positive. Reciprocal means you flip. So opposite and reciprocal. Okay, you need to know both of those things for the quiz. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular have opposite reciprocal. They don't go in those blanks. All right, we're going to do our first example. Finding an equation of the line based on the given. So if you see you have 1, 2, 3 on your paper, it's about halfway through. Your first step to finding an equation of the line is to find the slope. So the first step is to find the slope. The second is to plug it into your point slope formula. And the third is to rewrite in slope-intercept form. So what does that mean our answer will look like? Y equals mx plus b. All right, so let's do our first example. We got through the point 4, 6 with a slope of 2. So in regards to finding the slope, do we have to do much work for that? No, why? It says the slope is 2. Did we find it? Yep, it's right there. plug in the formula. So anytime you're doing these problems, I want you to write down the formula first. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. It's called the point slope formula because you're given a point and you're given the slope. All right? So here's what doesn't change. You don't plug anything for y minus. Obviously your equal stays. And then that x minus, nothing gets plugged in there. Where do we think we get y1 and x1 from?
The first
Yeah, the point they gave you. And then what does m represent? The slope. Okay? So what is the y of the coordinate they gave me? 6. Okay, xy. And then what is the slope that they gave us? 2. What is the x of the point they gave us? 4. So once we plug in, we need our answer to look like y equals mx plus b. In order to do that, we need to get y by itself. In order to do even that, what do you think we have to do next? Distribute. We want to distribute first before we add. So we're going to distribute the 2. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Now what do? Add your 6. So y equals 2x minus 2. All right, that would be your answer. I'm going to show you what it looks like on a graph. I used to have you graph, but are any of you in Algebra 2? What do you know about Algebra 2 and graphing? You have a calculator, so it'll be okay. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, as long as everyone's finished. We got 2x, what did it say, minus 2. Okay, I zoomed out a lot from my last class. All right, but what did it tell us was a point on this line? 4, 6. Let's look. Here's over 4, up 6. Is this point on the line? Does it look like it?
Yes.
Yeah. So we accomplished our goal. Okay, we named the line that had the slope of 2 and went through that point. Okay? Throughout this lesson, I'll be showing you. This is called Desmos. It is an online graphing tool. I think Mr. Cosen still uses it. He used it last year. If not, good. Okay, so you should be pretty familiar. You can put in multiple equations and things like that. All right, and I'll be showing you that. We're going to move on to our next problem. All right, it says through the points negative 7, 8, and negative 14, 2. So the first thing we want to do is find the slope. Can I just look at these and know what the slope is? No. So what do I need to do? This label and then slope intercept. Not slope intercept. Sorry, slope formula. Okay. The slope formula looks like y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And I'll write it over here. All right, so I'm going to label my points x1, y1. And then my second point will be my x2, y2. All right, so what is my first y? 8. What's my second y?
2.
What's my first x?
Negative.
My first x?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. My second x? Negative 14. 8 minus 2 is? 6. Minus 7 minus minus, which makes a plus. What is minus 7 plus 14 is 7. All right, so this is not our final answer, but that's our slope. Okay, we found that. We're going to use that in a little bit. All right, once we find the slope, what do we do next? Plug it in. So we got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Again, I write in already the y minus and the x minus because those are nothing's going to be plugged in for those. They'll stay y minus and x minus. Okay? But we will plug in a point, but here's our dilemma. How many points were we given? 2. So here's what I tell students to do. I tell them to pick the point with the smaller numbers. So which of the points that we're given have smaller numbers? Negative 7 and 8 have smaller numbers. 14 is bigger. A little bit. Honestly, it's toss-up. But most people have picked negative 7 and 8. You just need to pick one. You cannot pick an x from one and a y from another. You have to pick an entire coordinate. All right, so I boxed the one that we're going to pick. What is the y of that coordinate? 8. What did we find to be our slope? 6 over 7. And then what is the x of that coordinate? Negative 7. We got that negative of a negative, which will make that positive. All right, so what do we do next? Distribute. So we got y minus 8 equals 6 times x is 6 over 7x times x is 6 over 7x. 6 over 7 times 7. I'm going to do it up here. I'll do it in white. 6. Y'all see it up here? Oops, I need to write smaller. 6 over 7 times, we're multiplying times 7. Again, that's a whole number, so you need to write it over 1. You can do one of two things. Some of you know how to cross cancel, and that's fine. If you don't, 6 times 7 is what number? 42. 7 times 1 is 7. What is 42 divided by 7? 6. So when we distribute and multiply 6 over 7 times 7, we will get plus 6 down here. All right, then what do we do next? Add 8. So y equals 6 over 7x plus 14. Ta-da! What's your answer? So again, yours says to graph because I used to teach you how to graph these because you used to need to know that for the next class. But again, you're going to use graphing calculators. All right? So we got through the point 8, negative 2, and parallel to the line y equals 1/4 x plus 2. So what part of this entire sentence would help us find the slope? It's a particular word.
Y equals.
Nope. Parallel. What does parallel tell me? The slopes are the same. So what is the current slope?
2.
Current slope is 1/4.
1/4.
So what is our new slope going to be? 1/4. Once we find the slope, we do the exact same thing we've been doing. We'll get y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, what is the y of the coordinate they gave us?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. What is our slope? 1/4. And then what is the x that they gave us? 8. All right, so again, minus and minus make a plus. So we got 6 plus 2 on the left. 1/4 times x will make 1/4 x. 1/4 times negative 8. I'm going to do it up here again. 1/4 times negative 8. You are not correct. What number goes on the bottom?
1.
1. You're super close, whoever said that. What is 1 times negative 8? Negative 8. What's 4 times 1? 4. What is negative 8 divided by 4? Negative 2. Don't forget that negative, okay? So when we distribute, we'll get negative 2. All right, and what do we do next? Subtract 2. What? For what? We distributed 1/4 times 8, which I did up here. 1/4 times negative 8. No, because this is a negative attached to the 8. The 8 itself is not negative. When I multiplied it, I brought the negative with me. If you wanted to do it your way, which is fine, you would have done 1/4 times 8, which would still be 2. And when you plugged it back in, the negative would still be there. That makes sense?
I get it.
I took the whole thing. I took this and multiplied it. Therefore, had negative 2 be the outcome. So there's no longer a negative still there. That makes sense? Because I used it to multiply.
Oh, okay. Yeah, be quick.
Okay. All right, so minus 2 minus 4 is a common mistake. We get 1/4 x. What is minus 2 minus 2?
Zero.
Minus 4.
Shoot.
You were the cliche. Just kidding. Just kidding. So I'm going to actually show you what the graphs look like.
It's a cube.
All right, you're going to tell me what was the original? 1/4 x. What was it?
Plus 2.
Plus 2? Oh, 1/4 x plus 2? What is the one that we just found? Y equals 1/4
X minus 4.
x minus 4. So I have to zoom out. Oh, that stinks. It's the same color. Usually they're different colors. Anyways, do you see how they're parallel? If I made this -40, are they still parallel?
Yo.
Yeah. I could make this, pick a number. Don't pick a
700.
don't pick a billion number. What? -7. Praise the Lord for small. Look, still parallel to each other. Because again, what do they have in common? The slope. Okay, so it doesn't matter what number you pick.
That's crazy. How you did that?
You can make it any number you want, and they'll still be parallel to each other, okay? The same distance apart. It is crazy.
How you did that?
We got 2 more things to do.
You're a magician, bro.
Through the point, -5, 3. Perpendicular to the line, -5x plus 1. All right? So what part of this sentence is the most important? Perpendicular. What is the current slope?
-5x.
-5 is the slope. The perpendicular will be the opposite sign, so will it be positive or negative? Positive. And then the reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of 5?
1/5.
1/5.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use 1/5 to plug into my formula. So I got y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1.
Wait, why would it be 1/5?
Because what number is invisibly under every whole number? You haven't answered my question. Oh, 1, yeah. So then when you flip it, the 1's now on top and the 5's on the bottom.
So we only flip it for perpendicular.
Yes. Flip and negate it. What? Because it's perpendicular, you always have to flip it. Reciprocal means flip. So the opposite sign and then the reciprocal means to flip it. All right, so we got y minus is going to stay the same. X minus will stay the same. What is the y coordinate we're going to plug in?
3.
3. What is the slope that we're going to plug in? 1/5. And then what is the x coordinate?
-5, so plus.
-5, so yep, that's going to be a plus. So we got y minus 3 equals 1/5 times x is 1/5 x, and then 1/5 of 5. 1.
I felt like that was a cool.
1/5 times 5. 5 is invisibly over 1.
Oh, 1.
You get 5 over 5, which is 1. Yep,
Crazy. How you did that?
insane. Then we add 3. Y equals 1/5 x plus 4. Ta-da!
We have to graph it.
No, that's why I'm telling you. You don't have to, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on a graph. Anyways. All right, so perpendicular means what to us? Bruce, tell me what perpendicular means. They intersect, and what do they do when they intersect? Would you like to phone a friend?
I can be a friend.
You phone me.
And they form 90 degrees. They intersect and they form 90. All right, so let's look. Cole, you're testing me. Sit up. Isaiah, see me after class. God bless the broken road.
He's writing down stuff on paper.
He's awake, I swear.
Okay. What was the original equation they gave us? Minus 5x
This Marshall
Plus
is
1?
the boy some slack. It's just a recipe. He's just a boy.
He's praying when he does that.
Yeah, right. Okay. 1/5 x. What was our final answer? 1/5 x, then what?
Plus 4. Plus 4.
Was it plus 4?
Yes, it was plus 4. I swear, I promise.
I look.
That's great.
They intersect beautifully, and they form 90 degrees.
What?
Yo,
Yep.
that's great.
Even if you change the intercepts, they'll always do it.
90 degrees because
Life is great.
the slope is.
Do like 7 million.
I'm not gonna do 7 million.
Miss Marshall, that's crazy.
I'll do 1,000.
Miss Marshall, you a math magician, bro.
Look at that.
I didn't even know how you did that. look at how she did it. Whoa.
Is that 100,000? 1, 2, 3.
That's a million.
Look at how she did. Whoa. Look at.
Look at that, beautiful.
Yo, you crazy.
You're.
That's trippy.
This is the last problem that we are doing today together. Determine which of the lines are parallel and perpendicular. In order to do this, what do we need to know?
Adam.
Nope.
You are smart.
What do we need to know?
The slope.
Their slope. We need to know their slope. So listen, I am going to color code them like this is line A. We're going to find the slope of all of them. If you're given a picture, how do you find the slope?
You use the points that you're given.
You use the points,
It intersects an actual line.
and you can,
I can't even see.
what I was looking for was, you count the rise over the run.
That's what I meant.
That's good.
I am a disappointment. You were right there.
Stop, please. We're counting the rise over the run. All right, rise over the run. We're going from the 2 points on A. Okay, is it a positive or a negative slope?
Positive.
Positive. How much do we have to rise?
1.
1. So 1 is on the top. How much do we have to run? 3.
Probably a lot.
That's 3. Next one, line B. We need to focus. Line B. All right, what 2 points? We got 2, 0,
1.
and 0, negative 1.
Oh, sorry.
So we do go up 1 and then over 1, 2. So up 1 over 2, what will that slope look like?
1
1 half. 1 half. 1 on top because it's the rise. 2 on the bottom because it's the run. We got line C. We do the same thing. We got negative 1, negative 5, and 1, negative 4. So we go up 1 and over how many? 2. So up 1 over 1, 2. So that's still 1 half. The last, why does line D look different?
Because it's negative.
Because
It intersects them.
it is a transversal, but in more specific, it's actually negative. It's a negative slope. I'm very proud of you for knowing transversal, though.
Good job.
A transversal is a line that cuts through 2 or more lines. So, yes, D is a transversal. But what 2 points make up line D, or that they show us?
3, negative 3, 2,
negative
and
2,
negative 2, 0.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so here the rise and the run will look different because it's a downward slope. So the rise would actually be the opposite of rise, which would be, I don't know, lower. So down 1, 2. So my rise would be 2. What is my run? 1. As we learned earlier, do we reduce? What is negative 2 over 1 reduced to? Negative 2. So we have not answered the question to determine which are parallel and which are perpendicular.
Oh, I know.
When we determine that they're parallel, we need to use the parallel symbol. Which 2 parallel lines have the same slope? So which 2 have the same slope?
Line B and line C.
Line B and line C. So here's what your answer would look like. Line B is parallel to line C.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's the first part of the answer. Now we need the perpendicular. Let's find the perpendicular of all of them. Okay? 1/3, is it positive or negative? Positive. So the perpendicular would be negative, and then it would be flipped. So it would be negative 3. Do we see another slope that is negative 3?
No.
No, so that one does not help us. The next one, 1/2, is it positive or negative?
No. Positive.
Positive, which means we need negative. And the reciprocal of 1/2 is?
2.
2. Do we see that?
Yeah.
What's the reciprocal of the, or what's the perpendicular slope of the next?
Negative 2.
Negative 2 as well. So that means we have 2 pairs of perpendicular lines.
Which makes them cross.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that means line B is perpendicular to what line?
Line C.
Line D, not all of them. Just line B and line D. And then line C is perpendicular to line D. This would be your final answer.